Hi and hello everyone. So today I will share with you guys the strengths and weaknesses of each research traditions. So first we'll start with survey research. So basically the survey research is about the collection of data attained by asking individuals questions either in person, on paper, by phone or online. So basically, conducting a survey is one of the primary research, which is the gathering data firsthand from its source. So, survey research is to gather the opinions, beliefs, and perceptions of selected groups of individuals. So, the common type of surveys include the interviews and questionnaires, which are comprised of multiple choice of questions, opinions, and polls. So there are a lot of advantage or pros and cons of this type of research tradition. So the first one is cost effective. So questionnaires are one of the most affordable ways to gather the information of quantitative data. So especially when you do it online, and mobile surveys have a very low cost and you can reach a generous participants of people that you want. And there's no printing costs, of course, because you do it online, right? A questionnaire, it can be placed on your website or you can email to your participants. And next advantage is speedy results. So it is very quick and easy to collect the data with online and mobile tools. So this means that you can gain insights as little as 24 hours or less, depending on the scale and the reach of your questionnaire, of course. And next is wide scalability. Wide scalability is your questionnaires and surveys allow you to gather information from a large audience. For example, if you do it online, you can literally distribute your questionnaire to anyone and anywhere in the world. So this means that you will get a wide responses regardless of their geographical areas. And despite all of those advantages, there are also disadvantages of this type of research tradition. So the first one is lack of conscientious responses. This one is maybe the respondents may not be 100% truthful with their answers, because this can happen for a variety of reasons. For example, maybe they have social desirability bias, or maybe they want to attempt to protect their privacy. So dishonesty can be stopped by assuring respondents that their privacy is valued, and the process prevents the personal identification. So next is dishonesty. Dishonesty is because the answers will be chosen. Maybe there are answers will be chosen before fully reading the questions, or sometimes the respondent will skip through the question and make the split-second choices. This will affecting your validity of your data, and this drawback also can be defeated by you make it your survey short and your questions is simple, that you are likely to get the most accurate responses. And next is differences in understanding and interpretation. So yeah, if you are distributing your questionnaires online, so there may be a misunderstanding about your questions, because there may without someone to explain the questionnaire fully, and each individual has the same understanding. Results can be subjective. So, respondents may have trouble grasping the meaning of your questions that may seem clear to the creator. This miscommunication can lead to skewed results. So the best way to combat this disadvantage is to create a simple questions that are easy to understand and easy to answer also. So next is experimental research. So the experimental method is a systematic approach to research in which the researcher manipulates one or more variables and controls any changes in other variables. So this type of research also have its pros and cons. So the pros is it is the only form of research then that can establish cause and effect. So this research design is the most powerful design to establish causal relationship between independent and dependent variable. So next is an experiment allows the researcher to control the variables. So basically you can control the variables that you wanted. And the cons of this research tradition is this type of research cannot be replicated in studies conducted because of maybe due to ethical problems. And next is the experiment may be affected by external variable. So there are a lot of variables that you can control, but there will also or maybe your results may be affected by the external variables. So continue. The next is grounded theory. Grounded theory is a research tool which enables you to conceptualize the latent social patterns and structures your area of interest through the process of constant comparison. It also focuses on a process of something, and the final aim is to generate a theory. So the pros of this kind of research tradition is it is very helpful to develop an understanding of phenomena that cannot be explained with existing theory and paradigm. So it is appropriate application of this methodology in your dissertation is most likely to gain you high marks. And next is fosters creativity and critical thinking. So the cons of this grounded theory is it is very time consuming and difficult to conduct, and also there is a great room for researcher to induce bias. Next is action research. So it is defined as a disciplined process of inquiry conducted by and for those who taking the action. So the advantage is it can be used in education by the practitioner who wants to explore their own teaching style or practices. So for example, you have adopted a new mathematics problem solving curriculum and decided to monitor its impact on students' performance on open-ended problem solving questions and the students' attitudes towards the mathematics in general. So yeah, you can carry out this action research which they carry out professional practices. It can be examined the everyday or taken for granted ways. Next is the ongoing process, and its strategies can be widely applied. And the cons of this research tradition is it can be viewed as structured plan because you structured everything right before you do it. and the results can be focused on the outcomes. Next is case studies. So case studies involves an empirical investigation of a particular contemporary phenomenon within its real-life context using multiple sources of evidence. So the strength of this research tradition is it is very intensive study, because you get a very detailed and in-depth study of a person or event by explore it thoroughly and deeply. So this is especially in case with subjects that cannot be physically or ethically recreated. For example, the missing of airplane MH370. So you cannot recreate the event, right? So it is a case studies. Next is developing a new research. So a case study is one of the best way to stimulate new research. So it can be completed, and if the findings are valuable, it can lead to a new advanced research in the field. Next is giving new insight. So case studies have the ability to give insight into phenomena that cannot be learned in any other way. So an example of this is the case study about the Sydney Bradford, which Bradford was blind from the age of 10 months old and regained his sight at the age of 52 from a corneal transplant. But later on, they found that Bradford continued to live and work with his eyes closed because he found that sight is too stimulating for him. And next is the cons of this research tradition is inability to replicate. It means the data and results are only valid for that one person, for example the Stanley Bradford before. Researcher bias. Researcher bias also, it is very possible for the author to form a biased results or findings, and this bias can be detected on the way the data is interpreted by the author. Next is time intensive. So the case study is very time intensive. Moving on to discourse analysis. Discourse analysis is the study of social life understood through analysis of language and its widest sense, including face-to-face talk, which is a conversation, non-verbal interaction, images, symbols, and document text. So it focuses on the ways in which language is used in text and context. So the advantage of this research tradition is it is enabled to reveal the hidden motivation behind the text or behind of research to interpret the text. For example, you can the authors can describe about the how the language used, who is speaking, or the circumstances of the surrounding. Next is provide positive social view. For example, discourse analysis can provide social psychology critique of any phenomenon under the gaze of the researcher. And the cons is thus discourse analysis does not provide absolute answers to specific problem. And next is specific to each tradition, but generally the proponents of discourse analysis believe that meaning is never fixed, and so everything is always open to interpretation and negotiation of the authors itself. Yes, next, moving on to ethnography. Ethnography is a systematic study of people and their cultures. Besides exploring offline social world, you can also conduct ethnography research to explore online social world, which is called virtual ethnography. So the pros of this research tradition is it helps people know more about other cultures. So this realization can help people become more accepting of others who are different from them in terms of race, religion, ethnicity, or political beliefs. And next is it can easily evolve and discover new things. This means that instead of relying on the predetermined examinations with limited choices in answers, it relies on the ethnographer's observation as well as his interviews with subjects using the open-ended questions. Next, the cons is it takes a lot of time because you have to study the subject's belief, and yeah, it is so very time consuming, and also it depends on the people's openness and honesty. So the success of an ethnography study greatly depends on the subject's willingness to open up to the researcher. And next is the phenomenology, which describes a life experience of a phenomenon. It aims to understand people's perceptions, perspectives, and understanding of a particular or situation or phenomenon. So yeah, it have the advantage is it have unique perspectives. So to be sure, there is only some value to be found in focusing research on how people perceive on an event or phenomena. So rather than simply how the phenomena exists in a vacuum, right? So next is the understanding, which is perhaps the biggest benefit of this type of research. It can provide us with a profound, detailed understanding of a single phenomena. And next is the cons, subjectivity, where it established the reliability and validity on the approach can be challenging, which makes subjective research is so difficult. And next is the pure bracketing. It interference with the interpretation of the data can lead to a number of your headache in trying to establish and maintain the pure bracketing. And the last one is the narrative. Narrative inquiry uses field text such as stories, autobiography, journals, field notes, and life experience as the units of analysis to research and understand the way of people create meaning in their life as narrative. So the advantage of this research tradition is it rich in data where the people tell their story that provide a window into someone's life context. And next is understand their life. Yeah, the disadvantage of this research tradition is coding, where you need to create categories about important emerging themes and individual story from an entire group may be challenging. And also they also have probability that the one you interviewed is faking the data, right? So above all the research traditions that I presented to you earlier, I choose discourse analysis as my research tradition, as my research methodology, because I am conducting a study on code switching based on the content analysis of Malay movie, which is SEPAD. So this course analysis aims to allowing us to view the problem or the situation of code switching itself from a higher stance and to gain a comprehensive view of the problem and the code switching happened in that movie. So that's all from me. Thank you.